Alrighty, hello ladies and gentlemen, Azakai here. I'm going to be bringing to you the 7th day of the Asia Division scoring phase. This is scheduled to be the last of the set, from the looks of it. Not sure when we're going to be able to see them next. I do think it will be heading on to the knockout phase, and we get the top 8. Well, I'm pretty sure they'll shade each of the groups, probably choosing two teams for each of the groups. So A, B, C, and D. So two of the best team in each of those groups, and then we get the top 8. Knockout phase will happen over probably next week, probably closing up before Christmas. Hopefully. I also think that there will be a losers phase. So it will probably be the same setup where we have the winner bracket and the losers bracket. But enough about the future. Let's look at today. Right now we're going to be watching the BOD versus WAK battle on Hailong Fjord. And what are we going to be seeing in their unit lineup? Right now, BOD is coming in with tier 4s, tier 5, a bit of a mix, so 50-50 I would say. Interestingly enough, as the defenders going in with a lot of tier 4s, a couple of tier 3s. Again, those halberdiers are very good when it comes for, very good when fighting higher tier units. They do dish out the damage. Damage is real good on the halberdiers in the phalanx formation, one of the most powerful formations, even before the buff. Even now, after the buff, they are crazy strong now, since they also got rid of one of the detrimental detrimental features of phalanx. As a feature, the phalanx would normally reform every time one of the front lines had died. That was, in some cases, this is really good when when the lines aren't stable, but this helps halberdiers to stable in chaos. But in cases of getting pushed in really hard, the phalanx formation would crumble because of issues with just moving around outside. But nevertheless, interesting to see a couple of the nice Murmelones. Murmillones? My goodness, names are difficult. So, WAK setting up a bunch of artillery immediately. Normally we see the defenders wait a little bit. BOD is split between the 2 points. We've got a contingent of 5 members here on the B side, A side being the main section. That is interesting, being super aggressive. Good pressure coming out from the defenders, shooting towards this supply point. You think you're safe, but with long-range Falconetti shots, those will go straight into that point. Falconettis have one of the highest penetration you will ever see, having around like 4,000 or so blunt penetration. Or is that their damage? I can't remember. But getting hit by a Falconetti shot is basically the hardest hitting projectile from a unit, I would say. Coming in close, we got the Shenji Grenadiers, probably the highest single, probably the highest range damage you'll ever see from a unit as well. There are some gimmicks you can do with some of the Javelin units, but nevertheless, breaking down the walls on both the A and the B side. Not sure what they're planning to do. It does look like some action on the B side. I was wondering whether or not they go in. Probably just staring at each other. Indeed, haven't actually fully committed. Lots of halberdiers, not very good for pushing, really great for holding against pushers, though the shield maidens will definitely mess up halberdiers. And I would like to voice my displeasure yet again I'd rather shield maidens to be gutted than to keep them in their current state. Their current state, just way, 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 way ridiculous, I would say. Hello, new lexicon. How are you doing? This is on 3 minutes delay, so I won't be able. So you'll hear my response a little bit later. The action hasn't begun. Both teams haven't really pushed each other. Lots of... Here comes a nice treb. 3 good shots landed on top of that. But no deaths. Very surprising. I was hoping for a little bit more impact. Severely wounded, but here... Whoa! Kind of missed the start of this, but does look like BOD has decided to go for a little bit of an interesting play here, setting up on... Well, I mean, this is really good, actually. As the members from the defenders push towards them, they will get flanked by phalanx. They need to set up the phalanx in a better position, but... Squeeze! The pressure... Wow, that is kind of amazing. The 2 phalanx formations on either side of a porch just massacres the entire section. And that is the defenders completely wiped out there at the B section. Really, really bad move from the defenders. It was a little bit, iffy, I would say. I did not have the confidence in the halberdiers to hold, but nevertheless, wow, that damage racks up real fast. Did you see them getting eviscerated? Those were, well, 2 halberdier sergeants, 1 halberdier, and that basically contested against loyal guards, heroes, iron reapers, and some medals. So on all sectors, I do think that WAK is kind of just losing. Gonna have to reestablish themselves on a different point. The C point could be a way to go. Big loss out from your tier 5 sector. Losing mostly to the halberdier units. Again, halberdier units are great matchups for higher tier units. They got the damage, so they'll definitely rip you to shreds. They are stable units, so they really rely on formations. But classic weakness of all formations are definitely the flanks and the rear. The difficult thing the most difficult thing you never want to do is to try to punch through a defensive line after a funnel. A funnel, like the stairs here, can lead to certain death, because when you push through the funnel, you're going to have units on your left, you're going to have your units on your right, and you're just going to have units in front of you as well. So once you start pushing, there is no turning back, because you turn around, all 3 of those sides are just going to hit your rear, and it's just going to be absolutely ridiculous to see if anyone actually survives running, because the moment you turn your back, I'm pretty sure the enemy will just wipe you out. Surprisingly enough, going down and sticking to the B side, I've never really seen a good push from this side, because that funnel is pretty ridiculous. It's good, however, to notice that the number of artilleries is kind of almost evened up. WAK still has 7 artillery still available. Does look like someone did put something down. Can we spot it? No, I cannot. No ranged units, so that's a bit concerning. They did have Falconettis. A good old Falcon... They're stacked up here on the B side. A Falconetti here on the Cliffhand side, even just behind, can easily shoot over that little ridge straight into the enemy. And I'm surprised. I'm very surprised that they would not have a ranged unit available for this sector. They do, in fact. Alice is controlling it. Does look like with the Demon Metallitor version, or the Demon Falconetti versions. Can we spot where Alice is? So we got 2 Liao Rangers in the back there. Alice seems to be in the front here, kind of scouting. So, keeping his ranged units in a very peculiar spot because I cannot find them. Yep, there they are. So it's interesting that he keeps them in the backside. They're expecting a push towards the supply point instead, but they're on the B side. They're both checking each other without really noticing that, like, the attackers could just walk straight up at C. The defenders have no plan of defending that C point. Just get up there because you're wasting a lot of time and you've wasted a lot of artillery. So BOD's mistake, massive mistake here. WAK's decision to just do nothing? Great. Worked out excellent for them. But, again, giving up ground for no reason? I've never understood this. So, if BOD is stupid, they'll go for the supply point. If BOD is smart, they'll force a fight onto the base point and then just take the supply point for free. What would be even smarter if they get to the base point and immediately set up to stop them from coming up from the supply point. So an interesting move here is actually to grab the harbor sector, have the berserkers spawn, because the berserkers will walk towards the C section and run into these guys here at the supply. So again, a bit of a silly move to actually fall. Like again, this is tactical decision making from the teams, and I think BOD is making a big mistake.
Enemy reinforcements are
staring,
from the harbor.
Staring whack here on the supply point. A massive advantage. Remember, supply point advantage is huge. Can definitely be the make it or break it factor when trying to push against any team. Like, if you have a supply point or not, it's just like, wow, that's so many extra units you're going to have to deal with if you cannot get to that supply point. And I'm pretty sure that the longer they stay here, they're going to end up taking more and more damage. And all of these mortars here have been very, very effective. They finally put up a defensive point here, and they have members checking. So this is a bit scary for BOD because there's only 5 minutes left. Whack's done a really great job. Rack's done a really great job at keeping the attackers scared, but at the same time, BOD's making some really bad tactical decisions. Although this tactical decision is working out for them, not so much on this side. Take a look from the defender's aspect. Running in with the Iron Reapers, does look like an even fight there on the left-hand side. The right-hand side kind of just shooting each other to pieces, and there goes the Weak Star straight into the Medals, unfortunately. A section of the Medal line. Nice Murmillion charge straight into the center of that, but unfortunately it just gets ripped to shreds somehow. One Wing Star charge weakened the Medals, and they just roll on through. Tons of cavalry. It is not terrible to have these. What the hell? No, why are you retreating? You have units still available. Unfortunately, I think they just lost a lot of heroes. I would not be surprised. Wow, yeah. Okay, they lost a lot of heroes. Only 7 guys left on the table right now for the defenders, and I'm pretty sure some of them are running. Shield Maidens are coming straight in, and he's going to die. Second. Oh, my goodness. Shield Maidens are never a great unit to fight against, and especially against the cover commander mode. Just unironically, just ridiculous to fight against. They're so powerful because of the amount of damage they output and how fast they are. A little bit desperate Wackus to throw units to gain advantage back on top of this base point, but BOD is doing really well for themselves after gaining a massive victory against Whack. A complete wipe of the surf units coming out, just complete wipe of the surf units. The Loyal Guards are bracing, but they're going to get hit from the rear, and it's going to be terrible for them.
The enemy is about to capture the final flag.
In the park.
So, definitely some questionable decisions from both sides. I do think that, um, I do think that they could have stabilized if they took out the Nodachi, but how they took out the Nodachi and didn't respect the Shield Maidens was very questionable. Once that Pike went in and got knocked down, I was definitely sure he was going to go down. And the Dual Blade even follows up with a Marked for Death. Again, really bad move. I will say that it's just really, really reactionary, trying to just gain an advantage even though you're at a disadvantage. So they didn't give themselves enough time to really assess the situation, and I would chalk it up to the skill level just not reacting properly once the situation turns for the worse. Once those shield maidens, I mean, maybe the dual blade got locked up, not sure. However, I will say that BOD's approach to the supply point was really good. Um, will say, however, that Wax approach for the supply point was quite strange because they should have just kept retreating. If they win on one side, they could regroup together to fight together. So as the defenders, they're a little bit too they they have a plan to make use of terrain advantage, but when the going gets tough, they want to fight. So they're pretty aggressive. They're pretty aggressive. So is it a bad thing? Not really. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. I think some of the matchups were worse than they should have been. Pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. Again, first, the first, the first push towards the A and the B point ended up in very peculiar failures, I would say. Again, going up that stairs, big loss. I mean, you lost 4 units to catching 1 Iron Reaper, and that trade was pretty telling. Gonna be one of your... it's one of the worst trades I've seen, besides a complete wipe. But good fight for the second. I think they didn't really handle the bridge crossing when they come up for the supply point on the cliff side very well. It's like 2 funnels. The bridge crossing straight into the supply point. If they just fought on the corner of the supply point, making sure they didn't get it, but even if you didn't get it, you would have good advantage still because the supply point's in your name. The moment they're not on the supply point, you just pull out another unit. That being said, I do think that BOD did very well in weakening the pike line and able to get their Daggerack Lancers through, including their Liao Rangers. However, I didn't actually catch where the Liao Rangers from Whack went, so very skeptical on the usage of cavalry from Whack. I do believe BOD does have a little bit more confidence and a little bit more performance out of their cavalry. A little bit too cautious, and probably keeps running into issues with how the defenders set up. So I'm wondering whether or not BOD has plans, but they're not adaptable. That's one of the things that I think really steps up a team is adaptability. Once you have good plan, good strategies, you need adaptability, because you can have the best plan in the world, but the enemy could have the best plan in the world to beat your plan. So you need a plan for the fact that your enemies might actually counter your plan. If your plan gets countered, you need a backup plan, and if that backup plan gets countered, you need another backup plan. So you're at higher and higher level play, decisions on a team dictate like the setup of how the setup for a team dictates immediately how well they will perform. Because regardless of skill, the position of every single one of your members could be highly beneficial and get you advantages which are completely unseen. And simplest way of explaining it is positioning your troops on the flanks, positioning your troops. You have a center force, you have your flanking force, you have your rear guard, all those kinds of things. And immediately with every single fight, if you outflank the enemy, you have gained a big advantage. So massive that you might have to blink twice because of the amount of power you get from flanking. Nevertheless, we're here on the second set of BOD versus WAC. WAK. So, WAK, you're going to have to win your attack in order to send it down to a field battle tiebreaker. And looking at your setup right now, a bit of over-reliance on the shield line. Again, if you bring the Myrmidons, I would drop the stalwarts, but we'll have to see. One shield maiden only from BOD. Surprisingly, two shield maidens coming out from WAC. I thought shield maidens would be a little bit more popular. Can't wait for WAC Zadinta to trolling. Why troll Zenov? A lot of pikes, I would say, coming out from WAC. 7 pikes. So kill potential is with WAC, but out of last performance, hero kills were not really their go-to. They're not really good at it. I think individually the heroes are not skilled enough in order to pin or assassinate other heroes. And what's interesting is, I think they dropped a dual blade. There's 2 dual blades, 2 mainstay dual blades out from WAC, and one of them, there was a third one last time, but it looked like he dropped out from a dual blade. Noob WAC Rain. We'll see. So WAC is also going in with the AB pressure. So Znov82 telling me that Dex plan failed, slow to react. It wasn't even slow to react. Are you talking about the A defense? Are you talking about the AB defense, or are you talking about the supply point defense? I think it was. I don't even think WAC was slow to react. I think WAC was just. They set up badly. They set up badly, so they ended up losing in the long run. Losing the supply point, losing the left-hand side supply. I mean, again, like from the defender's perspective, they lost the supply point, still holding this choke point, but not enough to actually, not enough, like, they weren't far enough in to really block off the entire intersection. Interestingly enough, this longbow is trying to snipe out the mortars. Gonna take him forever, though. I mean, let's be honest, you only do like 150, maybe 200 damage per shot, and you know how much health that thing has? It has like 4,000 health. You're gonna have to take 20 arrows to destroy that. Maybe one musket or maybe 2 musket grenades. Really good throws. You can get it. You know what? You should get the units that are bigger. So you surround it with cavalry, or camels. Or Huskals, in fact. Huskals are really tall. So they can cover your... So this is the bad thing. Like, although Myrmilioners are really good at breaking shields. Like, they will smash this Loyal Guard into pieces. But you charge into something like a Halberdier, you'll probably start getting ripped to shreds. You use that? I'm busy, honey. I'm busy, honey. I need a commentate. I need to commentate for a battle right now. Have fun. Oh man. I didn't realize that there was a fight on the wall as well. Losing here at the A section right now to, surprisingly, Scyldars, which have apparently just crushed a whole bunch of units. And getting shot by flamers for free. Surprisingly, they sent in Iron Reapers. Starting off really badly. Really badly, in fact. Oh my goodness. You need to get out of the way before they start killing you guys. Oh, second shot incoming. Gotta start killing. The remaining heroes inside just need to get out. Or you can just take these two if you really want. But I wouldn't. I really wouldn't, because you're about to lose another pike user. They do get scared off though. BOD was very successful. Kind of trying to do the same to the enemy, but your setup is wrong. Shield Maidens, Myrmilions, and Loyal Guards. This is not good for you, as just getting crushed right now on all sectors. I think a big loss coming out from the attackers, and going in again for the A point. Oh, yeah, no, that was probably true. Fortes probably didn't arrive in time. And hello, Lord Sundering, 3 minutes behind, so fortunately, WAC has already lost their defense, so they have to win their attack in order to send this to a field battle. Unfortunately, right now, they're not starting off very well, but they have finally made some headway. The unfortunate thing is that they're going to have to pull back. Well, they're going to have to, not pull back, but they're going to have to gain a lot more. Massive cavalry incoming. A 40 needs to be here because halberdiers are great, but they're not going to stop a winged surcharge incoming. The winged hussars crushing that entire front line. Halberdiers are great and all, but like I explained yesterday, they're not really the counter to winged hussars. In fact, winged hussars are the counter to the Loyal Guard and halberdier setup. You need that Fort Russia, you need that full-on anti-cavalry, and oh my goodness, halberdier coming in and just getting stomped by that Daggerack Lancers. Didn't even get any. I was very disappointed with that performance. I don't know why this Shield Maidens is cooking. What did they get hit by? Oh my goodness. They got hit by the Ezekiel Militia. Oh, a sad day for the attack right now. WAC is wholly unprepared to fight against the winged hussars as it just rolls on through. It struggles to get to the halberdiers, means that surprisingly the front line was able to slow them down just enough, but the defense pikemen are not going to be in brace formation. Surprisingly enough, the Loyal Guards and the halberdiers coming out from the defenders are braced. A nice shield charge, second one incoming. Boom! Oh man, I love that Mammalian charge, getting right up into that. Unfortunately, it was a half-baked one. The first charge didn't get all the way through, and where are you going, my dudes? that pike is so far with, and again, really devastating how that just crushes that in, like, how tight that formation was for the Dakaric Lancer, just cutting right through that formation. Howard, Halberdier Sergeant's just feels unstoppable right now, as all you have left is infantry that just getting shredded. Even your loyal guards are just getting shredded right now. Trying for a B side push. Could manage it, in fact. Oh, never mind. We're out of time. That is, rest in pepperonis. Oh man, that was unfortunate. Again, um, wow. Like, this is very surprising. I chalk up Halberdiers to be very strong. Like, very strong. But, as we can see here, they're getting trashed by Winged Hussars. Like, I'm gonna be honest here with you right here. I already knew that Winged Hussars were rolling over Stalwarts, were rolling over Halberdiers. You need your Fortebraccio. You need your Fortebraccio. Even yesterday I said, you need your Fortebraccio. The perfect combination is Loyal Guards for your shields, Halberdiers for your anti-infantry, and your Fortebraccios for the cavalry. Halberdiers are great against both cavalry and infantry, but they're better against infantry, while Fortebraccios are better against cavalry. Very tough to watch indeed, Mighty Drool. And that is GG. I mean, the trying. Okay, so one of the interesting things I always hate to see is when you try to use the enemy strategy and it fails. You see, the guys at the B point, there was 3 units, I believe. Shield Maidens is a Stalwart and a Mermalones. You did the same thing, but you really did the setup wrong, because that setup, you go through the broken wall on the B side, get up on top of the stairs. When they did it, they had 2 Halberdier Sergeants, an Iron Reaper, and a Halberdier. The problem is that you had formation fighting units that were all frontline. Every single one of them was a frontline unit. They are there to soak up damage, not deal damage. Every single one of their unit, well, 3 of their units actually, were damage type units. They're also formation type units, but they deal lots of damage. And they had the Iron Reapers, a bit too slow to make it, which were the shield breakers, just in case you came in with shields. Nevertheless, I do think it's not even about too much purple. It's about setup. They set themselves up for failure, because you will notice very, very, um, very easily, BOD uses the Winged Hussars to break down pike lines. And this is very important, because what comes after the Winged Hussars are Dagger Axe Lancers. Again, cheaper variants of the Cataphract Lancers. They are also, on performance by the looks of it, much better, because they're cheaper and they basically hit just as hard. Too many bad moves from Whack. Again, really slow on the start. Really slow on the start. Trying to get inside, gets pushed out. I wall fighting units versus shield fighting units. I said it both times. A bit too many shield units. Like, too many shield units. What are you gonna do with every single person who wants to be a front line? If every single person wants to be a front line, you have to push in such a fashion where your front line is constantly under pressure. And that is the bad thing, because if everyone's focusing on taking damage, then who's dealing the damage? You only have moments of dealing the damage. So when you're all frontline units, you really need to push in such a way that you're never outflanked and you're always facing the enemy. In this case, you run yourselves staring at the enemy and you get flanked anyway. A lot of bad moves, definitely a lot of bad moves. Um, I hate to say this again, BOD's got a really good setup working for them. They have a strategy. Unfortunately, WAC doesn't understand that strategy, and um, it comes down to just unfortunate factors where because WAC was unprepared, they just get blasted. Nevertheless, it was a it was a good showcase on both sides. Both sides had strategies. One side didn't have a good strategy, one side had a good strategy. And this is where dissecting good teams comes in. And I like to say this, but there is a stark difference between a good team and a bad team. And when you're watching bad teams, you can tell they're a bad team. Whack's not a bad team. Wax is an average team, not probably not in. Well, maybe they'll make it into the top of the CBL. We have no idea. Right now, I think they have more or less have 2 points, or well, they'll probably be like fourth or third or fourth in their group. If they're lucky enough, they'll probably still get into the knockout phase because again, WAC is probably better, probably of the better teams. I've seen a lot of bad teams, and particularly BOD is not a very good team either. They just uh, have been unlucky or lucky. A lot of people seem to get shaken up when they face BOD. But I won't say that BOD is not a top player because the quality of the teams coming out, I think BOD would be someone you would put in the top eight. Um, not very many teams I could say that would be probably top eight. I'm not even sure how many teams are like in this scoring phase. Probably 30 odd. So if it gets cut down to 16, actually, definitely I would say Wax into like top 16. BOD could make it to the top 8 if they could be a little bit more flexible. I think they need to also speed up. Oh, apparently, okay, so U2 Nub is saying Alice was too noob and he got kicked out of ECL. ECL is pretty hardcore. I do hear a lot that they don't particularly, um, they're not particularly kind, or I'm just gonna call it a very toxic team. So I wouldn't be surprised Alice got kicked out of ECL. Uh, his performance in the ECL has never really been spectacular, but I always chalk it up because he always gets the terrible job. When you get when you get the badge when you're the guy that needs to be at the front, or when you're the shield guy and you need to be, or you're the guard, you're the rear guard, you're the person that's going to hold the bag because unfortunately, yes, that's unfortunately your job. You're the first one in, and you're the first one to die. And that's what makes a good frontliner. A guy that comes in, fights, and is there until the end. One of the more difficult roles to play because in this current balance of CB, it's just wowzers, so much damage flying around, and I think Pike units as well has returned back to form. Well, not well, Pikes in general, yeah, definitely have returned back to form from previous seasons where the brace formation was so oppressive. I mean, I remember when you just had Pike militias, layer after layer of Pike militias, and mwah, they were just beautiful because everything that was running into them would just die. And it was funny because like one winged Asar, you could set up. Um, you could set up the so this is not actually how it's supposed to work out, but winged hussars should technically roll over all of the pike militias, but depending on the formation of the winged hussars, you could set up the pike militia in such a way that halfway through the winged hussars get stuck, or they get hit and they start dying. Normally, you have to do it by offsetting the pike militia out of the way and hitting the sides of the winged hussars, but a little bit too difficult. So it created an effect where if you just had a lot of pike militia, eventually the cavalry would just fucking run out of steam and die. But again, cavalry back in the early days as well was just super, super oppressive, just rolling through. I don't know what's happening with the observer mode here, but if this keeps going on, I might just exit out. Well, congratulations to BOD anyway, winning 2-0 against WAC. I want to believe that. Okay, so I mean, I'll put it down to the fact that WAC setup insufficient to go up against BOD, and that's the first thing you need to learn when you're coming into CBL is your setup. Unit compositions have been changing, constantly changing, and I wouldn't put it past anyone. I wouldn't pass anyone to throw in a unit that I rarely see, and all of a sudden it start performing like crazy. Like, do not get me wrong. Alchemists could be absolutely powerful because of the thanks to that 100% block regeneration. While they're healing, 100% block regeneration inside the area. You're never gonna get through you're never gonna get through a stalwart like that. All right, so that's long enough. I'm gonna close out this. Does look like it's just bugged out. Nevertheless, I will start watching the next set of battles when I can, and that will be in around about 20 odd minutes. We'll be watching the ECL versus MFLM. I feel like we watched that before. I feel like we watched each of these teams, but I feel like we watched this particular matchup before. Or I could be wrong. I just see a lot of the ECL versus MFLM kind of deal thing. All right, end task. You goddamn blighter. All right, I'll catch you guys in 18 minutes. So until then, well, until then. my god. I've been muted this entire time. Oh my god. Oh my god. 3 minutes of mute. No. I've been muted for 3 whole minutes. I've been muted for more than 3 minutes? Oh my goodness. You guys tell me. New lexicon, thank you. Thank you so much. Anyway. Oh my goodness. Ah, man. Oh man. Yeah, just, you guys are gonna have to just guess what I'm saying. You guys are just gonna have to just guess what I'm saying. But like, oh man. ECL, half new, half old. I'm pretty, I went through the names and like, said which ones are which. I mean, not which one's which, but like, which ones I remember. Mikey, definitely one I remember. A lot of mortaring happening on from ECL's side. A good approach for a forward start, but I'm very surprised that I'm surprised that they didn't decide to go under. Instead, they fall back, because in this case, I mean, like, I don't know why you're walking around with your shield maidens like that. Every time they get knocked out of cover command, well, no, cover commander might be more consistent this way. They might, they doubled down on cover commander, so actually CCing them might not actually clock them out of the spear mode cover commander, so you might not actually have to do anything. ECL approaching very fast with the Mermillones. I want to see these guys just charge straight into a shield line and watch that shield line just get eviscerated. So obviously the Border Braccio puts in, whoa! Oh, second charge incoming! Oh, brutal, absolutely brutal. That was a nice charge. Coming in with a Daggerect Lancers, coming in for the second, run straight into the Chevaliers! The Chevaliers almost killed Kazuya. And he dies. That's very unfortunate, although most of his Daggerect Lancers were basically getting shredded anyway. Surprising to see a couple of Scimitars, actually. Big hit from the Bastion Wild Flames. I really love these guys just messing up shield walls. As they burn the, well, actually, the Loyal Guards kind of traded evenly, but the Halberdiers probably did most of the work. Well, actually, no. Obviously, it was the other Loyal Guards. Coming in at a really awkward angle. Unfortunately, it was not effective. I think the guy died. Or maybe they were just getting stopped from all of the anti-cavalry. Again, like, it's not the best anti-cavalry unit, but charging straight into Loyal Guards is not a smart thing to do. So, surprisingly, ECL actually does take this. Big losses, though. I thought they would have a bigger advantage. Lots of tier 5s, a lot of tier 5 cavalry, do mind that. Tier 5 cavalry will definitely mess someone up. A lot of the infantry probably got clocked out for the defenders, and the defenders are just like, the defenders will probably... Okay, guys, I've been told that I've been muted the entire time. I've fixed that, so you guys can hear me again. But nevertheless, losing units like this is never a good move. I don't know why that Stalwart was in such a forward position. He should have realized that falling back was the smartest thing to do. Now, it's going to get a bit tighter for the defenders. The losses were pretty hefty for the defenders, but the tier 5 cavalry, again, like at the beginning, they had an obvious deficit of like units, but the tier 5 cavalry might be able to bring it back. I mean, in terms of number of units that are probably been traded, I would say ECL is probably about up 10 units. I would say 10 units at most. 10 units at most, 5 units at least. So it's not like an entire army, but it's enough where ECL could definitely have at least 3 decent pushes. And already, like, this is where you get into the territory of tier 5 versus tier 4. ECL went in with a lot of tier 4s, so they have units to spare. The fact that they traded up is way detrimental for the defenders, because the defenders are going to have to make each tier 5 basically cancel out 2 tier 4s, and that's not an easy thing to do in a team game. A tier 4 right now could easily handle taking on maybe half, maybe an entire tier 5, and render it down to almost near ineffectiveness. So grabbing the harbor, never really want to defend the harbor. I would never want to defend the harbor, really. I would defend this choke. There have been times where people have defended this choke. Not in recent history. I think people have sallied out on that choke, but once this is open, you're going to have to deal with a couple of berserkers. They're not really difficult to deal with. They're level 1, and they basically use no skills, so they're just super easy to kill. Lots of resources for ECL. So ECL will definitely take this attack in the bag. I mean, Demez using that sacrifice ability. I mean, I kind of like using Demez Spearman as kind of like, oh man, already starting off, loses 2 whole units. Although they're low tier units, it's still not a good sign. It loses to Medal's as well. Medal's facing the wrong way, if you ask me. And, whoa, I mean, 2 shields against 1, that's a good trade-up, but ouch, look at that swarm of cavalry. Daggeric Lancers have definitely just been the melt everything kind of deal, as they're just rolling over the defense right now. Another charge straight into a, well, not even brace, since there can only be brace in line formation or in Silstrand. Oh, this Winged Hussar gets trapped on the fence. The unfortunate thing is they also seem to have gotten staggered by the pike. I mean, not the pike, the spear. So that is doubly unfortunate. So after that, that is completely, like, shut out. That you, as the defenders, you will have your base point has no defense right now. The AI berserkers are actually managing to get up onto here. You have to drag them from the C points. They automatically head towards the C point. The unfortunate thing here is you're facing against ECL. ECL hasn't even grabbed the C point, and they are spawn camping you, because you still spawn on the base point, by the way. You cannot spawn up on the hill until they take that C point. So ECL could actually just farm the defenders until all of the defenders are dead. Cataphracts coming in is an interesting choice, but I don't think the Cataphracts are going to be very effective. Actually takes out the Loyal Guards, though. Good choice. Out of everything to take out, the Loyal Guard was the only thing, and especially from the side, that you probably picked up. Lots of grape shots being deployed. Easily could take, even trebbing them themselves, just to make sure that the enemies don't get here. And as you can see, it's like that. It's like, it's pretty amazing how far that Winged Hussar went, because all like that, there was so many halberdiers here, but look how many of the halberdiers died. Like, look how many of the halberdiers died. If they could have used the Winged Hussars to take out the halberdiers, that would be amazing. Like, I kid you not, that is like a perfect strategy. Use Winged Hussars, charge halberdiers and stalwarts. You will win. Like, you will win. This is the biggest thing. I love the usage of the Myrmillones. I love them. They're great against shields, but it's an anti-shield shield unit, so basically they're only really good if the enemies have more shields, because that shield unit would just shred them to pieces. Once they use their charge, you've got 20 seconds of downtime. Your uptime as a Myrmillones is really shit. Like, it can break a pike formation, but it's not really good to hold the line inside a pike formation. They're going to get shredded. And it's still a shield unit, so it's not terrible. But in terms of shield units that are really popular and really strong, like loyal guards will basically last forever against pike units, even if they get outranged. I believe top line mainly mainly for the increased charge duration. The increased charge duration is very important. So I think most will go top line. This was to unlock United Charge before changes to takes 30% less from firearm infantry, takes 30% less from range. Bottom line's not terrible either. They're naturally way like tankier against range attacks this way. Or like you get 40% reduced damage taken, and you get 20% range 40% reduced damage taken from firearms and 20% reduced range damage taken. So these guys are really good against firearms. Like, um, while charging for these guys, while charging is probably the best one. This one here and like the charge duration and charge cooldown are basically your go-to. The infantry increased damage is very strong. Again, like the more damage these guys do with chargers, the better it is. And considering that they don't actually have the long distance charge trait, which means that they get more bonus damage as they charge. It's really telling how much damage these guys do because they're very comparable to Cataprax, and in the grand scheme of things, these guys are basically budget Cataprax, if not better than Cataprax because they're cheaper. That was the first game. That was definitely the first game. Yeah, that was the first game. That was the first game. We'll be seeing the second battle, and it was very short, in fact. Well, it's not that short. One of the shorter ones. So, like I've said before, charge has always just been ridiculous, and continuously cavalry units come back into the flavor of the month as people just get cavalry unit that just are really easy to use or just do gimmicky things. The whole rally to me ability just it causes them to do two things, and it's just like, okay, so first of all, the natural charge is already very powerful, but the problem is that a lot of the charge cavalry can get stopped. So yeah, well, you're telling me, yeah, that's normal. Rally to me is a bit different because they charge for the first section, but when they get stopped or reaches you, they switch. They switch to a different one. They are capable of restarting chargers, and why this is why it's so oppressive for Daggerac Lancers and Cataprax, even though their charges are not actually that spectacular. It's the difficulty in stopping them. It's the difficulty in killing them. Ranged units are basically ineffective against both Cataprax and Daggerac Lancers, but um, I want to just say the ability to charge and then rally to me is also very powerful. Or rally to me, then charge. There is very little uptime for a cavalry, but that uptime is insanely powerful. I wouldn't put it past you that a winged hussar could melt, I don't know how many halberdiers, but I've seen them roll over maybe 4, maybe 5 whole units. And you think about that as one charge. You think about one charge gets 5 units, a second charge gets 5 more units. Your cavalry has so much potential in it, in one ability, that it just dwarfs everything. And this is not even considering that the power coming out of the Myrmillones is also very powerful. You can kill an entire unit with one charge. With one charge, you can kill an entire unit with the Myrmillones. That's how powerful this charge is. But when it comes to cavalry charges, it's not even comparable. It's not even comparable because cavalry charges is just so much more powerful. So you want to go. Sorry, every cavalry, you want to think about it. Every cavalry, you want to make sure that their charge is difficult to stop. You want to make their charges that you want them to be as tanky as possible, difficult to stop, and make sure they're a lance cavalry. That's it. And the most dumbest thing is that like lance cavalry chargers will always be OP. Doesn't matter if the unit itself is not OP. Corteliers are shit. But they are still OP because that lance cavalry charge can roll over X number of serfs. I mean, when I say X number of serfs, I mean units of serfs. I'm pretty sure most cavalry units have some kind of practical limit, but lance cavalries don't seem to have that practical limit. I've seen Keshiks struggle to kill certain setups of units. Who win? Definitely ECL. ECL, hands down. Hands down. ECL wins, hands down. I'm not sure who. I'm not sure why. New Lexicon said that might be an even match. I don't agree. I didn't agree. I think ECL definitely better of the two teams. Oh yes, it counts as a rally to me. Yes, it does. So the charge. Um, Rally to me counts as a charge. Counts as a charge. Any charge related doctrine works for rally to me because of it just has that attachment onto it. Going lots of tier 5 cavalry, you're not going to be very good at C. I mean, just to be a real dick, ACL, if you realize that MFLM has a lot of cavalry, I would just retreat to C. I would just retreat to C just because I could just sit there and just kill every single one of their infantry and just be like, what are you gonna do now? All you have is cavalry. Yeah, that's how much cavalry they have. Like, look at this. It's a smart thing to do, but it's just like you went to the wrong gate. You went to A. I would went to B if you're gonna do this. This water brusher is not set up. Oh, no, it is. No winged hussars though. It's doing very well. Just sheer cavalry tankiness has made it halfway through that. But, oh man, I wish I had the before and after numbers there. That was crazy. Holy shit. I do, actually. They lost 400. They lost 400 units in the opening minute. 1 minute, they lost 400 units. Oh my goodness. I think ECL only lost like 30? Wait, no, I can... Those numbers are wrong. Okay, never mind. They lost a lot of cavalry though. They lost a lot of cavalry. Oh my goodness. I love your enthusiasm, but that was just Wowzers. Wowzers. You went to the A gate as well? Why not the B gate? The B gate would have been way better. B gate push. B gate push. Getting absolutely shredded here as well by the Falconettis and the Flamers from above. These Flamers are actually only 4 left. Oh, they're getting sniped out by someone.
Ashes to ashes, dust to dust.
Shield Maidens are still absolutely ridiculous.
A walk in the park.
I also included a Kappa with that statement. Kappa. Good luck, ECL. Next stage, they better team.
Walk in the park.
Surprisingly, ECL might just let the B go. Nah, don't let it go, man. Don't make the MFLM. Don't make LFMN stagger. MFLM. Don't let them take the B point. Oh my god, if they actually take the B point, that is like an extra 2 minutes of savagery. Winged Hussar's got to come in through the back. Medals will be very tanky, but the Winged Hussars don't exactly get stopped there in that case. This is the most important thing as well. Medals are just really suck at stopping cavalry sometimes.
A walk in the park.
Unless, like, you would be surprised how slow, like, they updated the algorithm for pike units to adapt to cavalry charging them. So if they get charged by cavalry that are offset slightly. Look at that! Look at that! Oh man. Unfortunately it gets rolled over by cataphracts. But that was so good. Like, that charge just completely decimated the stalwarts at the front there. The number of grape shots coming out right now from the attackers, they're really giving it their all right now in just fighting ECL from the front. They're just throwing units at each other, and as fun as that can be, it's just not a good plan. Winged Hussar just gonna roll straight on through. I love it sometimes. I love it. Just as excited as OP as I say cavalry is, sometimes it's just really fun just watching cavalry just beat someone.
Child's play.
And sometimes I just gotta be like that. Otherwise I'd just be hating the game so much. At this point, yeah, they're just gonna spawn kill them. I mean, this is 3 minutes.
Ashes to ashes,
Easy.
dust to dust.
ECL,
My might.
they struggled only against 2 other teams in their bracket. In their bracket, they struggled against BPJT.
Scatter before my might. Scatter before my might.
I know they struggled against someone. Just one? Just the one? Yeah, it looks like it. So, they did struggle against one team at least. Yeah, full-on cavalry charge is really intelligent. Especially when the enemy team has a setup. Like, here's the thing. One shield, halberdiers, Fort Braccio. It was a triple setup. It was the perfect setup. Especially against cavalry. And that's what you get sometimes. You really sometimes need to understand that it wasn't the shields that stopped the cavalry. It wasn't the halberdiers. They were there though. They were there supporting the Fort Braccio, because if one Fort Braccio, that Fort Braccio probably would have got overwhelmed by the number of Liaos. You saw how far those Liaos got. The problem is that they needed the Winged Hussars to go in first. They didn't have winged hussars to go in first. They had cataphracts charge in first. You need winged hussars go in first. Winged hussars crash into the halberdiers. Then you need something real tanky, something really tanky. Send in a monastic knight or a cataphract. Cataphracts are pretty tanky as well. Send in a monastic knight after the winged hussars. Then send in the liaos, and you would have a really great setup for a infantry breaker because nothing stops a winged hussar except for the rushes in a lot of infantry setups. Like winged hussars just roll over everything. So send in a winged hussar. Like I will tell you, winged hussars have not been touched, and they shouldn't be touched because no matter what happens to this game, the one thing they do good will always be important, and it will come back. It's a unit that will never go out of fashion. Like never go out of fashion. All right, let's see if observer mode works. Might DC yet again. If this takes 3 or 5 minutes, I'm just gonna close up the stream. But it's really funny. I think. I think it's really funny. Um, People, players, teams, whatever, are in the experimenting phase. They are learning units, unit matchups, unit usages. Their ability to know what every single unit does got to be very important. Even if the players themselves don't know what the unit actually does, they need to know what beats what. And at this point, there a lot of teams do really badly because they bring in units, set them up, expecting them to do something, and then they just get taken advantage of. So I hopped in observer mode between Oisu and BPJL for a field battle. Surprise third battle right now. So ECL versus MFLM. Super fast, take 30 minutes. 2 battles ended. So right now AC push, massive hold for BPJL. In this case, Oisu just needs to go to B. I would not even fight this A section. It would be very unwise unless you have a great start. Oh my goodness! That was very unfortunate. But Wingsar comes in on a bad angle. Trades? No. Yes, trades. Catches a couple of Winged Hussars. Winged Hussars got into the Demez crossbowmen. That is not good. You've already lost a couple of your Demez crossbowmen. You might take this south side. They take the A. You take the A, B, C. Oh my god. You might cut. Oh my god. BPJL. Get back to your base. Get back to your base. You're being really silly. At this point, cut them off. Cut them off here at the supply point. Otherwise, you're going to have to cut them off at the turn.
Blood.
Might actually kill the defenders. They do, and they pick up some points. That is very good coming out from Oisu right now. BPJL is just not set up just yet. And here comes the Liao Rangers. Unfortunately, oh my goodness, Liao Rangers still takes out cavalry like no other. Unfortunately, a charged cavalry. Oh my god, they actually have Courtiers! Oh my goodness! Not even crossbows, Courtiers double the numbers. In a charge off against equal cavalry. You're gonna win. Liao Rangers are pretty much the mainstay right now. The Shield Maidens make it and slaughter the Madows. Winged Hussar spawns in and savagely beats up the attackers, and they're putting pressure back onto the A point right now. They're going to lose. They're going to lose the battle at the base point. That doesn't matter. They might actually get a triple. Oh, never mind. No, don't send in your Liaos. Don't send in your Liaos, especially not from the front. God damn it. Why do people have to be so stupid? I mean, like, the Liaos did great. They hit the Medaos at the very least. Most cavalry just die by touching them. Well, I wish they died. Unfortunately, Medaos actually don't do that much damage. Surprisingly, Oisu is actually down. Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. Not like this. Not like this. I'm surprised how fast these guys run. $50 points, man. They just need to defend. Oisu just needs to defend, but it's 8 minutes 30 seconds. Considering that they have a unit disadvantage of over 200 units right now. Well, sorry, about 180, but discounting the 10 they have over in Surf, it's more like almost 200. It's like 190. Actually, it's 184 to be exact. I'm gonna be real with you, Chief. Oisu could have played that better. Although, I do love the play. The play was excellent, I think. Something fresh. Something nasty. I don't know why they haven't destroyed these grave shots. Did they accidentally mount them? Oisu just needs to waste time. I would definitely just waste time with Oisu. I would also be looking to just scare the enemy. This is really cool setup, I think. Although, I don't know... Are they using ammo? They surely can't be. But smart. Very smart. Have a lot of the Demez crossbowmen out. Also, you should definitely do your veterancy. Like, I think these veterancies are faster fire ones, or top line veterancy. Bottom veterancy is actually better. Get 3 extra guys, 10% extra, 10% extra firepower. Ooh, the start is not looking hot, as that loyal guards backs off. Why backs off? Interesting. Murmilona's wants to charge. Just charge. There's only 1 unit. Oisu sacrifices the stalwarts. And again, just, I love that charge. I love the double. Oh my goodness. If you were going, you needed a better charge up for that. And this is the stupid thing. Look, they're getting stopped constantly. Constantly getting stopped, but they restarted twice over.
A walk in the park.
I mean, they didn't send very many here. They just had a lot of Chevaliers. Oisu is doing the risky plays. Actually going to be successful. Going to kill this pike. Going to get the base point. Overcommitted for the B point, and my goodness, Oisu playing them like a fiddle. They're going to defend the base point. Base point is getting captured. They go for the base point. They're going to get the A point. That means they can't respawn back here. Everyone else should just head back to the B point. This contingency here at the A point grabs it really easily. Just head back to B. At this point, anything at B will get surrounded. You don't even need to attack. You just need to be there. I'm surprised that these Liao Rangers still has dominance. What is happening? Oh my goodness. It was the Claymores that came in and to finish off the Liao Rangers. I'm surprised how effective that play was. And now a complete surround on the guys from B. And Oisu is just going to close this out. It's so amazing. It's going to be a triple cap. even though they're down,
Ashes to
they're
ashes,
down units.
dust to dust.
They're down so many units. Actually, they picked up a lot. They picked up about 60 units just now. Triple cap. And that's it. Well done. Well done. Well done. I've honestly, I've honestly have not seen such strategic decisiveness. It was so brilliant that I'm I'm almost scared. Oisu, my goodness, that was amazing. Using the Chevaliers to present a bigger force than like, here's the important thing. Chevaliers basically counts as 2 units. Having a bunch of Chevaliers walking around makes it look like there's 6 guys, but there's actually only 3. And that was amazing because BPJL overcommitted for the B point. They didn't know where Oisu was going. They went for the A point and the base point. That was amazing. A split push. Didn't even put all of their didn't put all of their they didn't put all of their eggs in one basket either. So splitting up in that scenario, it was almost it was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Coming in, BPJL seemed to be weaker on an individual basis. They were weaker in the fact that Oisu seemed to be able to win equal numbers. Like, it seemed like they can win equal numbers. And they were, and Oisu somehow, even after a big loss at the beginning, and I mean, like, the loss at the beginning wasn't like terrible, but it was still a difference. But they didn't give up on being aggressive. They didn't go in and play defensive. They could have gone for the defensive style, but they went on the offensive. This kind of play, I think. Do you do any main time streaming outside of being commentary announcer? There is not much information on this channel, is why I ask. Oh, yeah. Um, yeah, I only stream on... Yeah, I only, I stream on Monday. I stream on Monday, and I like that you're very interested in, I love that you get interested in the thing. So I don't usually stream outside of the Monday, and mostly I'm just playing casually for the CB. Most of it's just the Monday grind. But I wanna still congratulate Oisu winning that battle. It was super intense. So intense. It was exciting. Exciting to watch you. Because you showed the capability that I want to see in other teams. I want to see that kind of capability, that kind of setup. I want to see so much more of you, Oisu, and I desperately hope you're in the next phase, and it's just going to be very impressive if you are, because I'll be honest, your track record is still pretty good, actually. So you're definitely you're in the A group, so you're probably first or second in your group, and I'm gonna root for you to get even higher. I want to see you guys get down to probably finals division. believe that is it for the scoring phase. There's nothing lined up. There's nothing else lined up for the scoring phase. So, so probably starting on the Monday, we'll get the next phase of. We'll get the next phase of the tournament, and I want to congratulate all the teams that do make it. I want to say that it was. I want to say it was great commentating for the scoring phase, and I do hope that I get to commentate for the next phase as well. But nonetheless, I hope you guys enjoyed the commentary. I did say that I do stream on the Monday. I stream on the Monday every week. I will stream more if well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I can make streaming the full-time thing, but I do love CB. I love CBL in particular, commentating for these things, and the passion I can get behind this kind of particular game is immense, because there's so much nuance that you can learn, that everyone should learn, and when you know all of that nuance and you can put it into practice, you can start seeing a lot of potential in this game. I hope this continues to grow, and I hope you guys enjoy playing the game. This might not be a siege, but at least I do hope that people enjoy watching this. I love watching this every single time. But nevertheless, I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. I hope you guys enjoyed watching the tournament with me. But other than that, my name's Azakai. Have a nice day. Bye for now.